Happy Sunday night, y'all. And our apologies for being a little bit late, but it's been a bit of chaos in our household. Yet somehow the children have not yet figured out that their pet fish is dead. This is where we are. I might be a trash panda for having not brought it up yet. We're going on 3 weeks strong, hoping we can parlay it out a little bit longer before we bring in the replacement fish. They're just not in a place to hear this right now, especially after losing their class pet, Stella the python, who's been a fixture at Lincoln now for about a decade. I had no idea snakes lived that long. The kids came home from the memorial service on Friday with bags of skin that she had shed. I couldn't handle it. I was sick as a dog last week. It is good to be back. I miss you guys completely. And if you remember, you can always get one-on-one time if you sign up for office hours, unless I'm sick and have to cancel like I did on Monday, but I'll always make it up. Here we go after 2 weeks in bed. Feels like 2 weeks in bed. It was a long time in bed. After spending all the time in bed while I was pregnant with Violet, I don't ever want to get back in bed to do anything other than sleep. Here we go. Karina Terry finished her half marathon on April the 2nd and was excited to meet her goal time. We're excited for you, Karina. Elin Masick ran the Oak Barrel Half Marathon in Lynchburg, Tennessee, not far from where I'm from, on Saturday with 4 of her running friends, and her recently retired hubby came along. She said, "We didn't run together, but as I entered the finisher chute, I heard a guy behind me yell, 'Don't let me cross the finish line alone.' So I reached back and grabbed his hand. Luckily, it was my husband. Otherwise, it would have made for an awkward race photo." That is true. Dan Felton had his last long run before the Brooklyn Marathon. Y'all, you need to see what this guy can do. It's going to be an amazing, amazing week in Brooklyn. Brenda Haskell's family celebrated a huge win with her husband finally being approved for disability benefits. That is huge. I don't know if you guys have ever applied. There's this idea that they're really easy to get, but it's not true, and they're even harder to keep. We got a category B1 runner here in fitness protection. You probably not interacted with him because most of what we do in the beginning, I really wanted this to be an inclusive experience, and it is just hard to come up with the technology that would include him in a way. So luckily he lives near me and I take care of him one-on-one. But I tell you that to underscore this, it is every year he has to show up to prove that he's blind. He has to navigate all the way down, and he is 100% blind. He had a surgery that went badly and it took out too much of his cornea, and yet he still has to wander all the way down to the disability office once a year, and they move this office in Denver, y'all. They move it to prove that he's still blind and disabled and can't get unemployable effectively. So yeah, that is a huge win. Congratulations on getting on disability, Brenda. I hope you and your husband are able to stay there. I know what a trial it is. I really do. So here we go with questions. Coach MK, I saw your photo of those Lululemon running shoes. How are they? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Meh. I hate saying this. I get really excited at the idea of any company. Even, I know Lululemon is as beloved by a segment of the population as is loathed by a segment. Now, they deserve a lot of criticism in much of what they do. I wanted to be behind them with shoes because they were designed for women. I will say it's not just like they designed it for a man and they made a smaller size for a woman. Our feet are different. We have a much, much, much narrower heel. And this is the first shoe I've ever worn where my heel did not slide in and out as I ran. It was a very different feel on my foot, and it was a little destabilizing for me. I know that sounds weird, but my run was super short. I'm recovering from SIBO. You guys will get to hear and see all the photos and learn about that, what that means real soon. But I was really excited to go for a not run, waddle, joggle, whatever, just to test the shoes out. And I did that yesterday or the day before. What day is it? I don't even know. Yesterday. And the ride was fine. Not the best ever, but it wasn't the best run ever, so I'm not sure I'm being fair there. I like the construct and I love the fit. So I remember there have been a few times when I put on a shoe and the shoe has blown my mind. One of them is on Instagram. You can see me going, ooh, and patting around. I did not have that same reaction to these shoes. It was not a, wow, I'm a convert moment. They're good. I like them. Will I buy them again? I don't know yet. Give me a little more time. I want to be fair, but I'm not. I love the fit, but I don't really need a walking shoe. I don't do a whole lot of walking. If I'm in motion, I'm running. So we'll see. But like I said, I really, really do like the way it hugs my foot. If you have a hard time finding shoes that fit well, they have a 30-day guarantee, full refund policy. It might be worth it to try it out. You order them from Lululemon, have them sent to your house. You can send them right back. Okay. Question 2. I would like to try running doubles a couple days a week. Why? I mean, don't get me wrong. I love doubles. I miss doubles. I miss being fit enough to do like climb stairs and stuff. We'll get back there at some point. But when you ask, how do you suggest integrating doubles into the maintained training plan? I need to kind of wonder, like, what it is you want to get out of it. I have questions. Is it possible to run twice a day without running more than I already am, or will I need to do more running at recovery pace? You would need to do it at the recovery pace for sure. If it's possible to keep the same pace, I'd like to know how I can restructure the maintained workouts to have 2 in one day. If I do increase my volume, do you have any suggestions for how to build it up? I would start with 2 days a week. Let's say Monday and for me, I mean, these are just the days that I would pick if I was doing this on my calendar. I would pick Wednesday and Saturday. And why is because Wednesday is a harder run. Saturday is a longer run, which is de facto hard. And those are the days you could use a boost of recovery the most. Now, the idea behind a recovery run is that you're past that threshold where your body is definitely working and your muscles get priority for all the oxygen in your blood. When your body is at rest, anything that needs repair gets priority. So like with the antibiotics I've been on, like I said, my run wasn't really good. It's because my body is still recovering. It's managing with these antibiotics. It really, 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 really wanted to rest. When your body does not want you to do something, it has a way of letting you know. And that does not mean that you are weak or whatever. It just means this is your season you're in. It means, hey, bitch, you're on antibiotics. Get back in bed. Lie down. This is where we need you to be. Okay. So I tell you that to underscore that when you're out there, this really needs to be recovery, and there needs to be an idea behind it. Otherwise, if we don't have a why, then we don't know when we're going off the rails. Remember, I like clear, safe boundaries. I don't care where you are within the boundaries, as long as you're like in here and not over there. Right. So if we're going to stay in the boundaries, I would say 2 recovery runs. Start there Wednesday night and Sunday night, roughly 10 hours after the end of your previous workout. So if you do your long run, let's say it's 4-hour long run and it ends at 9 a.m., then you would want to go for your double no earlier than 5 p.m. And you could be later than 5 p.m., but absolutely no earlier. Ideal would be 7 p.m., but we're not robots, so we don't have to have that sort of like supreme dialed in precision, right? It's just knowing when, if you've had like a 4, and I'm just starting with 4 hours because I know a couple of my runners had them this weekend. After a 4-hour long run, 20 minutes of recovery, you're going to get what you need. A recovery run is very rarely going to be longer than 35 minutes, very rarely. Because there are so many other ways that we can recover now than there used to be. But try to keep your heart rate really under 130. And if that means you're walking fine, you're still in motion. It doesn't have to be under 120, but let's try to keep it under 130. Even if I don't care what it feels like, like, I'm so slow, I'm slogging. You're getting what you need. If what we need is a double. So start there Wednesday, Saturday, 20 minutes, no earlier than 5 p.m. if your long run ended at 9. So we're looking for the sweet spot is 10 hours after your last workout ended. We don't want to be too soon. You don't want to finish at 9 and then be like, I'm just going to knock my recovery run out here at noon. Doesn't work that way. I'd rather you didn't. I'd rather you actually just rested a little bit longer, because the difference between doing it at noon and doing it at 5 p.m. is huge. The difference between doing it at 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. is tiny, infinitesimal, actually. Doing it before 5 o'clock is not going to bring any benefits if your previous workout ended at 9. Does that make sense? I hope so, because I feel like I beat that. I feel like I just flogged a dead horse there. So I apologize. That this will increase your volume, but I'm not worried about volume. I'm worried about volume at intensity. So for most people, who have a modicum of fitness behind them can show up and start doing what we do, not in the maintain plan, but in rebuild, between 30 and 52 minutes a day, 5 days a week, quite easily. And the reason they can't quite easily is because the intensity isn't there. Now, that doesn't mean if you can't do it, there's something wrong with you. I'm just saying, like, overall statistical population with a reasonable amount of fitness, they will be able to pull that off. Most people will not be able to pull off the first week and maintain. We've talked about all that before. So if you are already in maintain and you're doing well in maintain and you've been in maintain for 2 to 3 months, you can absolutely start with a couple of doubles if you want to do them, and not really have to worry about the volume. Now, if you're at the point where you're like, well, MK, I'm running 7-minute miles at 140, we need to talk, because well, I mean, if you're running 7-minute miles at 140, you're not going to be bitching at me about the 130 caps. That works. But there is a sort of a flexion point when you're faster than 9 minutes per mile at 140, and the rules do shift a little bit. So if you're there, let's talk it out. If you're not there yet, don't worry about it. It's not like you're in a better place or that's like #goals. It just means, yeah, now you got to worry about volume, because when you're out there for 30 minutes, you could be getting 4 miles. So we've just added 8 miles to your week. And if that's adding 25% to your week, now we have to worry about volume. For most people, that slowdown to 130 might mean out of a 20-minute run, they're getting like 1 3/4 miles. And that's fine. Or 1.5 miles. That's fine. Adding 3 miles to your week, not a big deal. Adding 8 miles to your week every week is a much bigger deal, and we've got to think in terms of volume. So between now and 9 minutes a mile, 9-minute miles at 140, you can easily add doubles as long as they're recoveries. If you want, once you're ready to increase it from 2 a week, ask me how. So in a bit of a reversal from most of the population, I've just recently started working from home after being in an office. I'm having trouble with figuring out how to structure my days. I'd always had my work that provided my structure, and now I'm so overwhelmed with the freedom of no one dictating my time that I'm not figuring out how to consistently make time for things like running. I feel that. I enjoy running, so I figured it would be easy to go when it fit, but yet it never seems to happen. Any suggestions? I put it in my calendar. I've been working at home now since 2015. And the only way I get anything done is if I put it in my Google Calendar. And I know that sounds a little silly, but when you are used to being in an office environment where you've got like life that happens before, and then no expectations of anything getting done really when you're there, at least in my previous office jobs, it was like that. So you have to have a little more structure on your not physically present at work time. It feels different when you're working from home and you feel like you have a lot more flexibility. You can, but you have to have those same, maybe not boundaries, but the same scheduling flexibilities. So put it in your Google Calendar. Maybe you do it if you know that you're and back into it. Maybe you know that you have a free block every day at 2 p.m. Maybe that's your run time. Maybe, unless you live in Arizona, at which point you probably, even this time of year, you don't want to be out at 2 p.m. Fair enough. Maybe you look at and you say, the first call where I have to be functional and present and like on the screen is at 8 a.m. Okay, then we probably want to get your run done before then. I'll tell you a secret, Mr. MK. Takes a lot of calls and meetings on the Peloton. A lot. Every day. He gets on Peloton at the same time every day. And he's like, if you need me, I'll be there, but you don't want to look. And that has worked very well. So much so that most of his team does it now. There will be whole meetings where everyone's on Peloton, no one talks about it, and they just absorb whatever's happening. So if you can organize that, again, I say go for it. It's going to really, the key to working from home is, start to finish, it's about having a routine and having everyone around you in your home having a routine, too. Otherwise, your lovely husband might have downtime and be like, oh, I want to spend this with my wife. Not be aware, that she's in the middle of office hours and he can't walk through the room, naked and giggle, or just sit down and start talking. Because when I have earphones in, that means I'm in office hours, So it's kind of getting the rhythm of what your life looks like from home, when is the optimal time for you to run, and then putting it in your calendar and sort of getting it done. So I like to have an A time and a B time. So if I don't run in the morning, and then I absolutely will go at 2 p.m. or right at 4 p.m. as soon as the sitter walks through the door. So that means I'm going to have my clothes on, shoes on, ready to go. When she walks up the drive, I'll be doing silly toes down the street. So that is my best advice for how to start doing it. Plus, when you're working from home, if you're sitting there run clothes, ain't nobody gonna know. And if they are, then you need to set some expectations around you. I'm working from home. I'm doing the best I can. You ain't getting a suit every day. Or if you get a suit on top, you get nothing on the bottom. Take your pick. I'm rebuilding, and in the uncomfortable phase, we're running. Even easy running kind of sucks. I feel that. I've also not been gone so long that I can't remember the easy, wonderful, effortless runs, which I thought would help, but honestly, it just kind of bumming me out. Don't think about those. They help pat me up to keep slogging through the hard stuff till I find the magic again. All right, first of all, the magic's going to come. It's more likely to get here, and it's going to get here faster if you keep going than if you stop. 1. 2, you can't really feel it, but when you're out there, you're building mitochondria. So don't focus on what your body's doing. I know I've been the person for years who's told people not to run with music. That kind of changed in the pandemic when a lot of people moved away from movement without meaning to, and then are making inroads back. You need to distract yourself from your body. And I'm not saying you have to have like an out-of-body experience or be ashamed, but rather, if it's going to feel very different, your fitness level has changed, your body's maybe your body shape and size has changed. So let's start there. Let's get some clothes that you feel good running in, moving in. Let's find a place where you feel safe to move. And that's already going to be a big step forward in getting there. It's hard to get excited about running, even when you're fit, but I will say everything is easy when you're fit. At least it's way easier. The best way that I have found, like on my run the other day, you don't think it humbles my ass to like be walking with a heart rate of 153 beats per minute? It sucks. What doesn't suck is my playlist. That's why I make playlists for you guys, where even if I can't zone into matching my footfalls with the beat of the music, I can walk and sing and point my fingers and dance a little bit and kind of be good in the moment, good with what I'm doing, good with the movement, without comparing that movement to movements I've had before. Got another question there. Hi, coach. Running out running, Sarah. Oh, hi, Sarah. You're on your phone. I love it. Plantar fasciitis. Oh no, I hate that for you. I do. Scrape your foot lots and scrape your shin. Scrape your shin. Scrape your shin. I've got this the shin scraping video on my Instagram. Go back and look at that. Scraping your shin, scraping your foot, and doing some stretches is going to be the fastest way to make that go away. I'm so sorry. I also hope you're seeing a PT if that's available to you. But if you're too busy taking your daughter to dance competitions, she's gorgeous. Sarah, you're going to be in so much trouble. She is gorgeous. She's going to make a beautiful wife for RJ someday. Anyway, so that is what I have to say about Sarah's child, my child. And rebuilding is hard. It's some of the hardest work you will ever do. I promise. But yeah, rather than focusing on what you're not doing, let's find a way to be really cool with what you are doing. And that's going to be making sure, creating an environment where you feel safe, comfortable, and entertained. There have been days I've stayed out longer than I meant to because I wanted to finish the podcast that I was listening to, or the book chapter that I was listening to, or the song that I was listening to, because I knew what came next. I'm like, if I go around the block one more time, I can hear those next 2 songs. So that's fine. Let's start there. And if you want a little more one-on-one suggestions on that, feel free to jump into office hours and we'll work it out. Coach, I got new shoes, but in my long run today, my right foot went numb. That's likely a lacing problem, right? Possibly. I think it started with the pinky toe and ended up affecting the whole foot by the end of the run. I noticed it as I was shuffling and did a lot more walking afterwards. But even walking, it didn't seem to lessen it. It was better after taking the shoe off for a bit. I tried loosening the laces, but it didn't seem to make a difference, or at least not much of one. So how much I guess I have questions around this too. Like, how much movement do you have in those shoes? Can you stretch that pinky out? Can you do toe yoga in the shoes? Now, I know everybody loves toe yoga. It's y'all's favorite, right? Yay! But trying to like stretch that toe out or plant the toe and press your pinky toe down. If you have the space to do that, if you have the space to draw your big toe up towards your face and dorsiflex, those are going to be two key ways of letting us know whether or not those shoes are going to work for you, and whether or not they're pinching a nerve. So um, that is kind of baffling. We don't like numb anything, but I would start there. Like, make sure that before you lace them. Before I lace my shoes, I like to splay my toes as wide as possible, press that pinky toe down, draw that big toe up as hard as I possibly can, and then tie my shoes, because then that's the only way you're not going to be tying them too tight. And yes, I do this every time I run. I'll try to remember to get a little video of me doing that. I know I've said this before. It's one of those things you don't think to do. It's like, oh, I need to film myself tying my shoes. But it's what I will try. I will make an honest attempt to remember to do that this week. And if I don't, if you haven't seen the video yet, do not hesitate to reach out to me and say, hey, Coach MK, that hair, the purple in your hair is fabulous. Now stop doing that and taking care of your hair and take care of me. I need that video. If you remind me, it will be done. All right. But whether or not I remember has nothing to do with you being loved, because y'all coached and you're loved. You're winning at life. And I got to go wash some orange out of a very patient 10-year-old girl's hair. It's going to be awesome. Have a great week, everybody.